Hello everyone, JG1 Barton here with another quick video, this one on a reversal. I am on the Finnish Virtual Pilot server in a G-14. I'm at high altitude over the front lines. I've jousted with an enemy plane a couple of times. I've gotten a visual on him, lost visual on him, don't know where he is right now, but I'm keeping my eye out for him. Eventually I do find him at just about the worst place you could find an enemy plane. But I will let this play out as I saw it, and then I will go through in the external views and do a little bit of a breakdown. Enjoy. Okay, let's take a closer look at this from external views. Now here is where I notice the P-51 on my 6. I know he's close, and he's below me, and he's been hiding in my 6 o'clock position in my blind spot, which is why I rolled to the left and looked underneath my 6. Also use a little bit of rudder to get more of your tail out of the way. But initially I'm making two judgments. One is that he's close enough that I need to turn because I'm well within gun range. And two, I'm making the judgment that he's about equal energy with me. So this is a time that I really need to fight. I need to turn. And the main thing that it needs to happen is that I need to turn into him and go defensive. Typically, if he was a little bit lower on me, or if I knew that he was a bit slower, I might pull my nose up and try to take my position where I have this slight altitude advantage. If I had a little bit more of an airspeed advantage, I might try to push an altitude advantage further and put myself into an advantaged situation there. But if I go vertical, he's probably got enough speed to put his nose on me. So that's the thing that I need to worry about most right here. And so my initial reaction is going to be to brake hard left and down. And if you look into this aircraft here, you can just see the cross section of the wings and then the fuselage. So if you use that to kind of quarter off the airspace, so you have his 12 to 3 o'clock over here and his 12 to 9 o'clock over here, the airspace that I want to fly into, that I want to aim for, is at his 6 to 9, because it's opposite of me and it's behind him. It's behind his 3-9 line. That's where I'm going to try and fly my plane. And at this point, I've made two observations. One is that he has quite a bit of energy on me, and two, I'm inside of his turn radius. So as he turns into me and he's out of position, all I need to do is hit the brakes and stay inside of his turn radius, and he's just going to fly around me without being able to get his nose on me, and he's eventually going to spit himself out the front end. So I'm going to roll back off my throttle as I bring my nose up into the vertical because gravity is going to help slow me down along with pulling the throttle. And I'm not going to have to maneuver very hard, if at all, really. I just need to kind of like dance around him a little bit and get as close as I can and then slot in on a 6. So here, as I go nose up, I'm going to roll off the throttle and basically float in the middle of the air and watch him just kind of fly around me. There's throttle off. Here's the float. Now I'm back on the throttle to stay with him because as he overshoots, I don't want him to get away from me. And there he stalls it. I roll off the throttle so I can try and get a shot. And then now as he recovers, I'm going to roll back into him to try and get onto a 6. As he's rolling out, I'm trying to see if he's just going to put his nose down and dive or if he's going to try and come back into the fight. And he does seem to still turn, so I just throw some rounds out there in front of him. I get a couple of hits. He rolls, puts it into a stall, recovers from it, but he's lost so much altitude and we're so far over enemy lines that I don't want to press this situation, so I'm just going to let him go. So we've got a pretty well beat up P-51 that started this fight in a really advantaged position on me, got the element of surprise, but just couldn't quite maintain his position. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this from the P-51's perspective and from the external view as he's closing in on me. At one point, I was flying almost directly towards him, and as I turned away, he was able to slot into my 6. And he used a little bit of a lag pursuit here to get into my 6, and I would have used a little bit more of an intercept course, and my nose would have been a little bit further out in front of my target, but he does slot into the low 6 and uses this situation pretty well to stay in my blind spot and close in on me. But he does get a little bit too far off to the left, and he doesn't realize it until about here, and by the time he's slotting back in directly underneath my 6, that's when I spot him and I start my reversal. And as he's coming around to me here, this is when I spot that he's going to overshoot. And I want to pause here because this is the situation at this point, if I were him, on this part of the overshoot, realizing at this moment that he's overshot. What he should do is continue to spiral climb to the left. He's up and to the left right now. If he just levels his wings out a little bit and continues this trajectory of a climb and then spiral climbs over the top of me, I've lost so much energy in that maneuver, especially pulling the throttle back like that, that I probably won't be able to follow him, and he'll maintain enough speed that he'll be able to keep his plane out of my nose, and so I won't be able to get a shot. But as it is, he keeps his throttle floored, and he just keeps turning into my plane, which is exactly the opposite of what he should have done. It's exactly what I was counting on him to do, and that's why this reversal worked so perfectly and so quickly. Here's the stall and the initial hit. A nice round onto the wing. And as he recovers, I'm coming back around. And if you watch, there's my displacement roll coming in. And he should have, at this point, just kind of put his nose down and ran for it. Like maybe did a little bit of a roll. But instead what he does is he puts himself into a nice steady right-hand turn, which is precisely what I would want to shoot at because it's predictable. Even at the range that it's at, it's a little bit easier to calculate. If he'd kind of barrel rolled and continued down, he might have just gotten away with what he had for damage. But as it is, he sets himself up in this right-hand turn that allows me to kind of cut the corner and set myself up for a bit of a long shot. And I managed to get a hit on it, which was good for me. See right here, he should have been barrel rolling and going down, but instead he kind of panicked there and lost control of his plane, but he does recover, and with a fuel leak he is able to fly home. So that's good for him, but it could have been a lot better. So this is a little bonus fight that I had later on in the same sortie. Pro tip, if you're flying a billboard, don't get low and slow and saddle on to someone's 6 when there's like a dozen fighters around. Even if you are over your own base, it's not really a good idea. Here I'm going to see P-51, he's rolling in on somebody, I'm going to roll in on him. Although we're both very fast right now, and this is something that I'm going to take into consideration. I am going to be able to try and get in on his 6, and he's going after somebody else. At this point, I'm full throttle trying to close in on him. 109 sees him, he's going to brake hard. P-51's chasing him. I'm going to brake off because I can't follow that, and I don't need to anyway. P-51 crosses over, and as he comes back around, I'm just going to slap back in on this fight. And as he rolls back around to re-engage this 109, he's going to give me a nice shot. And there you go. I don't need to slot in on his 6. I don't need to follow him through the high G maneuvers. I just pull out, wait for an opportunity, reinsert myself into the fight, and get a good shot. And at this point, everyone's just kind of sniffing each other's butts around here. And I'm seeing the AAA truck, so I know there's player AA now in the games, and I've never really dealt with it. This is the first time I've been able to fly in a while. And so I'm going to take my chances and see if I can't strafe somebody. And there seems to be 2 vehicles over here. I'm going to pick one of them and light them up. And there's one dealt with. I was going to come back around and try and hit the other one, but I was so low on fuel that I just needed to get the hell out of there. There's a tank shooting at somebody. There's more fighting going on up above in the clouds, but as you'll see here in a second, my fuel light's on. I need to go home. So that was the end of my fighting for this sortie, and well, since really. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Until next time, see you later.